Hi, I'm Bebow-Reinhard, and welcome to another edition of Unravel the Myth. Jeez Louise. Today I want to talk about something I discovered in Boston. It's something that is, how do I put this? And you know, I call it Unravel the Myth, right? Well, I found this great quote by John F. Kennedy, and I'm going to play the audio for you right now, okay?
We must move on from the reassuring repetition of stale phrases to a new, difficult, but essential confrontation with reality. For the great enemy of the truth is very often not the lie, deliberate, contrived, and dishonest, but the myth, persistent, persuasive, and unrealistic. Too often we hold fast to the cliches of our forebears. We subject all facts to a prefabricated set of interpretations. We enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. Mythology distracts us everywhere, in government as in business, in politics as in economics, in foreign affairs as in domestic affairs. But today I want to particularly consider the myth and reality in our national economy. In recent months, many have come to feel, as I do, that the dialogue between the parties, between business and government, between the government and the public, is clogged by illusion and platitude and fails to reflect the true realities of contemporary American society.
You know what he said? Did you understand him clearly? What I want to talk about today is exactly what he said. That it's not the lies that are dangerous, because we can see through them. It's the myth. In other words, and here it comes, I'm coining a word, we are, in this country, myth-led. Now, did you hear me right? I don't have a lisp. We are myth, I know that's backward, myth-led. Myth-led. Does that make sense? Think about myth as the big story that develops around a single fact that gets distorted. Ever play that game of telephone? You whisper something to someone, and they whisper it to the next person what they thought they heard, and it goes around in a circle. You don't verify what they heard. You just let them keep going. And if you whisper it, chances are by the time it gets back to you, you don't recognize what you said. That's what happens in a myth. It gets distorted. Truth gets distorted. Stories get enveloped, get, what's the word I want? Huge. Stories get huge. And you don't know what to believe. Where's the truth in there? That's what John F. Kennedy was talking about, and that's what I'm talking about in Unravel the Myth. But we're being myth-led, and we need to figure out what the truth is. I'm having this fight at AHA about teaching history the right way, the objective way. And they don't know what objectivity is. They say, no, you can't do that. I'm going, yes, you can. I'm going to pick on my history professor because I wasn't going to be a historian when I went back to college. I was going to be a writer, communications, journalism. But I went to this history class because I was working in my vampire, and he said, the very first thing he said when he walked into the classroom, he goes, George Washington was the father of our country. No, really, he was. He fathered a lot of children. Well, I just thought that was great. Here we've got attitude in history. Here we've got history that makes sense. Only it wasn't true. When I was in Boston, I was on a trolley tour in Boston, and they said that George Washington had no children. No children? How did I buy into that myth? Well, let's put it this way. It was a symbolic moment he was trying to share about slaveholders fathering children with their slaves. That's what he was trying to impart. But it built a myth in my mind. You see? Wouldn't he have been just as effective by saying slaveholders had a lot of children with their slaves? I mean, maybe not. Maybe he did it to grab our attention, and yeah, it did. I mean, you remember the story, the video I made a few episodes back about the assassinations. It's a myth about the lone gunman, but it's one that we want to accept. It's one we want to believe no matter what evidence goes against it. We want to believe it. That's a myth. We want to believe. Now you've got all these people believing all these different religions, and it's a belief. It's a myth. It's not based on fact. It's based on what people think is fact. But these stories just get all blown out of shape, blown out of proportion. How about this one I saw recently on Facebook? Destroy the myth that libraries are no longer relevant. Who would say that? What myth? How can libraries not be relevant? They have books. So somebody is saying that libraries are no longer relevant without any kind of evidence. They just want to destroy libraries the same way they're trying to destroy universities by saying our college degrees are no longer relevant. To who? Where are they getting this from? So we have to be careful what we believe. They say that this country was founded as a Christian country, when "In God We Trust" wasn't even added to the money and the Pledge of Allegiance until the 1950s to fight communism. Come on, people. Read the Constitution. This country was founded on freedom for religion. All the people coming over from the old world wanted the freedom to believe that what they wanted, their own religion. They didn't want to have to believe one religion in those small countries where there's only one religion. They wanted freedom of religion, and that's why we're here. Don't believe myths. Find the truth. The myth is something we want to believe because it's easier, maybe. It fits who we are. It fits how we perceive the country, the world. I mean, I talk about the myth of Custer's death. And it's a myth because it's missing the one single ingredient of who stood to gain by the Army's defeat. Myth. Unravel it. Unravel it with me. We'll be a better country. Our history will make sense if we are objective and we don't call one side good and one side bad. The Civil War is still being fought because we want to blame the South and elevate the North, and they resent that. They had their reasons. In my book, I try to show objective way why they seceded. And I think we have to, I agree that slavery was part of it, but wasn't the only part. There's more to it, okay? So don't be so willing to tell somebody they're wrong when you don't know if you might be believing a myth. Thank you.